Now, as far as A-Rod, though, I feel like we know where he's going now. I've been saying the Packers for the last few weeks, but after that Davante Adams tweet I saw.
He's not going to Las Vegas.
on,
That is a
D-Bud.
place where people thought Tom Brady was also going to go. So I guess that does open the door for maybe Aaron to Vegas. And Davante said he's going to my neighborhood.
Hell yeah.
And then Davante also put on his IG story some highlights of him and Aaron slicing and dicing and back shoulders and everything like that. Davante reminiscing on the glory days. Tom Brady retiring off the board for the Niners, if that was a real possibility, we don't know. Off the board for the Raiders, if that was a real possibility, we don't know. Does this mean Aaron Rodgers going to the Raiders, especially after what Davante Adams said? Or is Aaron Rodgers going to the Indianapolis Colts like everybody else thinks on earth?
This is welcome to the Colts, right? So first of all, the Davante Adams tweet, I know that players like to stir it up. I know that players like to have some fun. I know that Davante Adams knows that his buddy Derek Carr is not going to be back under almost any circumstances with the Las Vegas Raiders. So, if Aaron Rodgers is going to be traded, would the Raiders be a possibility? I would say somewhat. I mean, one thing we know about Dave Ziegler, the GM, is he will swing big. He did it for Davante last year. They could do it. They could do it cap space-wise. They could do it money-wise. They could do it pick-wise. So I would say at least it would be something that would probably be considered. But here's the thing with Rodgers, right? Like, he's easily the best player available, regardless of position. So every team will have to consider him. So it's like you could ask about almost any team and it'd be like, well, could they get Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, I think that would make some sense. So that's kind of where we're at for the next month, I think. If Rodgers wants to be traded, which,
No. That ain't the. Hey. Say this right, Rap. If the Green Bay Packers want to move on to the Jordan Love era and they would like to do that, then Aaron would have to be open to the trade. Is that what you meant by that? Or.
It could go either way because I think what it is, if there's a mutual understanding of, all right, we want Rodgers to be back. Like I would say this, if Rodgers wants to be back in Green Bay, I think there's a very good chance that he's back in Green Bay. That is my guess, educated guess on the whole situation. If he says, guys, one more run, let's do it, I'm back. Hard to imagine that.
I think that's kind of breaking news, right? I think that's kind of breaking news because what's been reported by the person that you had a source off with just yesterday or 2 days ago, he was reporting. What's that?
I don't remember that, but okay.
Oh, we'll get to it. We'll remind you here. Don't worry. It's the next topic of conversation after AJ gets his question in. But he was basically reporting that a trade is imminent.
Yeah.
And we assumed that was coming from the other side of the conversation, which would be the Packers, because we have convos with the other half of that conversation, Aaron. And the way Aaron laid it out was, do I want to still play? I have to take my process to figure that out. And do they look to move on? If they are looking to move on to the next era with Jordan and his young crew, there's no malice and everything like that. So I think both sides were taking the time to figure out what they wanted to do. Then when they come together, they're going to be able to do what they have to do for both parties. What you're saying is kind of, if Aaron wants to stay, they're going to be able to, that's big news. I think that is kind of breaking news coming out there, Ian.
I don't see it like that. I see it kind of like a return to play situation for the player, right? It's like when we're trying to figure out, is the player going to come back from injury? It's like there's the player, there's the team, and there's the medical. And everyone has to be on the same page to get a player back on the field. So to me, like this is sort of like this. There's so many moving parts. Does he want to be back? Like I think if he does want to play and if he wants to be back with the Packers, hard to imagine them saying, actually, no, we don't want you. I can't. I don't believe that's breaking news, although I'd love to claim it if it happens. But I think that would be the way it would go. Now, if they do want to deal him, it sounds, based on what he said on your show 2 days ago, whenever that was, that if they want to move on, it sounds like he'd be okay with that. And my guess is he would probably find a place that would like to welcome one of the best players we've seen in the last couple of decades to play on their team.
Right here in Indy. Go ahead, AJ. Come on.
I don't know about that, but Ian, what do you think? Like, what kind of timeline are we looking at? When can we expect anything to happen with this whole situation?
Period 6. Team.
Hold on. Period
6
already. But I lost the first part of your question, but I assume you said, what is the timeline?
Yeah.
I'm moving. Players are coming at me. I'm
Yeah,
moving.
smart. Smart's team.
Tackle one of 'em.
Didn't they say
Try to
team
form-
period? They're going
form
to be on the
tackle.
sideline, I think, Bub. I think you're okay. I don't think they're going to be doing anything over there. As somebody who has had to stand around at practice before.
Anyway,
A lot of them. Too
anyway,
many.
to answer your question, let me just sit on some of these pads since they're just nobody's using these things. Anyway,
Those might.
Oh,
This
my
guy.
So those might get used. Yeah, whatever. Go on, pal. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I love it.
so these things are happening faster and faster, right? Like, remember the Matthew Stafford Goff trade happened like as everyone was coming back from the Senior Bowl, which would basically be in 2 days, but it was like a couple years ago. The Derek Carr trade, if there's going to be a trade, which I still think is possible, would happen around the time of Super Bowl week. So you're talking within the next 2 weeks or so. Once one thing happens, things generally accelerate. So if Aaron Rodgers is going to be traded, which again I believe is possible, then it would probably happen in that window of a week or two before free agency. It's just once you start talking, if everyone's on the same page, if he wants to come back, it all will happen pretty quickly because if you want to get him, you want to get him now, right?
Yeah, there's a hooded male over your shoulder. It's hard not to see that. Yep, on the show. What's up, bud? Welcome to the program. Good to have you. Thanks for being on here. Are those the locals there, autograph hounds? Who do you think that is normally during practice on a Thursday at the Senior Bowl?
I haven't been signing a lot of autographs, so
All
I
right.
assume they're not a
Okay.
All right, let's
Okay.
move on. Wrap our side of the conversation saying the same timeline, couple weeks.
Yep.
So we're right here in the middle of it. We're about to learn a lot. We'll just kind of sit and wait